Okay, hello everyone. That's part 2 of Tinto Talks 84th analysis. We are right in the middle, so that's the place where we finished last time, and let's continue. So we have the three pillars of Europa Universalis 5 onboarding. When we started designing these systems, we realized that teaching a grand strategy game requires more than just good UI. It's about psychology, pacing, and motivation. Frankly speaking, motivation, that's something, this is probably, in my opinion, the biggest factor because when you jump straight into the game without any knowledge, it's hard to find motivation except the will to learn the game. But if there is actually too much and you feel overwhelmed, that's a little bit hard to find motivation further down the line because it's too much. I think it's like learning anything in your life. So assume you start learning physics or math. Um, those are huge, truly complex topics. Um, and assume that you are supposed to learn the very, very complicated and complex problems in physics or math. You are going to be overwhelmed with the amount of information you are supposed to digest. And also, there will be a lot of assumptions that you have previous knowledge. So it's even harder then to find motivation, to find a goal in that journey. So yeah, I fully agree. I mean, motivation is hard to find in those grand strategy games at the very beginning because you don't know what you are supposed to do. Okay, we broke down the problem, divided Impera style into three guiding principles. Divided Impera, I like that. Integration. Tutorials should feel like part of the game, not a separate mode. Um, Questionable. I would say that I wouldn't mind to see scripted tutorial just for the purpose of introducing the very basics of the game. How to develop your country, how to manage your government, how to manage diplomatic relations, how to deal with armies and the warfare. So I wouldn't mind, but that's me. I simply like those very scripted, simple, from point A to point B to point C, point D, and so on tutorials. I just like them. I mean, they are quite old style, of course. So, like 10 or 15 years ago, when we've been playing games, of course, that was like that. Very, very simple tutorials. Place that building here. Click that. Now we are going to fight, and of course you're much stronger than your enemy, so you know you will win. But we'll show you how to do that properly, and I like it. But well, they assuming that it's better to integrate tutorial into just normal mode of game. Uh, Victoria 3 try that. I mean, all Paradox games try that. I think in Victoria 3 it doesn't work well. Hopefully in Europa Universalis 5 that's gonna be much better, but we'll see. Pace. Complexity should unfold gradually in order to avoid players feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, hard to achieve because this is the grand strategy game, so everything is available from the very beginning, and that's why you feel overwhelmed. Reward. Learning should be enjoyable, satisfying, and, dare we say, fun. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the process. The end goal probably is not as enjoyable as the journey, in my opinion. Um, or at least, again, that's me. I mean, I like the journey. I like the path I'm following. I enjoy throughout the process, and the end goal is when you reach that end goal. Either way, you are going to search for another one. So that's the case. Let's unpack each one. Integration. Let's be honest, nobody likes old school tutorials. Um, have I just said that? I actually like old school tutorials? Maybe. Maybe I'm a boomer, maybe, I mean, developers are younger than me. I doubt. I'm not that old, but okay. You know the type that makes you go to an isolated game mode, feels like a mandatory chore to do before actually playing and tells you click here to build a castle. Yes, that's what I like. Come on. I like it. I mean, maybe that maybe because it was very simple and very rewarding. Like, yeah, I completed the goal without any struggle, to be fair. Without explaining why and when you should really do that. What if you actually create such old school tutorials? And yes, with click here to build a castle, and then you will also explain why and why you should really do that. Huh? You you didn't think about that, right? Okay. Players skip them because they feel artificial, disconnected from the actual play experience. In particular, we as grand strategy players tend to be, let's call it, independent minded. We do not want to be told exactly what to do before understanding why we are doing it. Okay, that might be controversial, but I think that this is incorrect perspective. This is the perspective from experienced players in most cases. From content creators, for players who spend thousands or hundreds of hours in game, in previous Paradox games, and they just skip tutorials in general because they are too good to follow them. That's obvious. So I think, yeah, they are assuming that. I mean, that perspective comes from very experienced players. And what about people like me, like complete dog shit in those grand strategy games? I mean, no, I don't skip tutorials. I actually want to play tutorial because that's the place where that's the only place where I can start and do not feel overwhelmed. So that's why I like those old school tutorials. Um, I mean, this is interesting. Actually, if you read comments, I'm not surprised that they said that because a lot of people uh, say that, yeah, I skip tutorials every time. But I believe that those players who write that, they are so much into grand strategy genre that, I mean, they are good enough, and that's why they say that. I mean, those are experienced players. Again, people who are not as experienced, who are mediocre at best, they don't even write any comments either on forum or on YouTube. It doesn't matter for them. I mean, they are waiting for the game, they buy it or wait for some discount, and they play it and they feel overwhelmed because there is no good tutorial. So that might be a problem. I've noticed the same behavior in like Battlefield 6 forum, where experienced players say that, and the young players say that the game should be much more dynamic, or actually the proper word is there should be a faster pace of movement and of the gameplay. But their perspective is coming from Fortnite or Call of Duty, which are ridiculously fast. And they say that Battlefield 6 should also be that fast because they feel comfortable in such scenarios. But when you take older players, players who do not spend so much time in games, they feel also overwhelmed by the pace of the game. So, and again, these players, they do not interact on forums or on Discord or whatever because they just want to play. They have like 2 hours in a day to spend time with a game, and that's it for them. They are not going to engage on forums. They don't have time in most cases. That's similar case, I believe. But okay, it is what it is. That's their assumption. I mean, whatever. Instead of front-loading information, we built Europa Universalis 5's onboarding around a simple truth of game design. Willingness to learn is directly tied to time investment. Willingness to learn is directly tied to time investment. Okay. That idea became one of our guiding principles, and it aligns nicely with the philosophy George Fan described in his GDC talk. how I got my mom to play Plants vs Zombies. Wasn't that the case with Diablo 2 or 1 as well? Like how I got my mom to play Diablo? I think so. In Europa Universalis 5, integration means embedding learning directly into the fabric of the game itself. Rather than just trusting an isolated tutorial as a separate mode, we've created a network of in-game tools that naturally support players as they play. So learning happens seamlessly in context and at their own pace. Yeah, well, if that's put well enough, like if you do something, there's some event, for example, something is happening in your country, you miss something, you need to build something, and there is proper context to it, and then you get that advice from the game. That's fine. I think that in Crusader Kings 3, I quite like it that when there was a plague, I instantly got advice how to deal with that. That was very very nice. Of course, I screwed up. Doesn't matter. But there was an advice, and it was quite helpful. These tools take many forms: tooltips, hints, alerts, and even custom-tailored hints for situations, certain game mechanics, and each of the 6 recommended countries we offer at game start. Okay, so we have some. What is? Oh, that's the hint, by the way. That's how it looked like. Oh yeah, that's much better in than comparing with Victoria 3, for example. Look at that. So there is a short description, and then we have recommended actions. Clicking on the alert will take you to the goods production panel, filtered with the missing goods in the affected market. You can increase the supply of a good in our markets in 3 key ways, and then you have those ways put below. And looks like there is also either effectiveness or priority of those ways. So which one is the best one? And if the best one is not available, then try to select tier lower. Makes sense. I actually like it. I mean, based on that picture. Okay. So let's continue. What we have? That's the description. Alerts. Blue for tips. Okay. Blue for tips. Tips. Blue for tips. Green, things you can do. Okay. Yellow, things should attend. Orange, urgent things to attend. Okay. Red, top tier urgency and wars. Purple and black for situation and disasters. Okay, that's it. That's it. That was a tooltip alert with an associated dynamic hint. Okay, and here we have that. Oh, that's the description. Fair enough. So once again, our blue for tips. Fair enough. So we have 2 different tips. Okay. Then we have green things you can do. And here we have it. Some available. That's probably war declaration. And those are research points. Blah, blah, blah. That's diplomacy. That's something related with pubs. Okay. Then we have yellow things should attend. What do we have here? Okay. Yeah, some information. I have no idea what it means. That's something related with money, or minting in general. Okay, doesn't matter. Then we have orange, urgent things to attend, like that. Okay, that's some kind of revolt. Fair enough. Then we have red, top tier urgency and wars. So yeah, we have war here, and then it's purple and black for situation and disasters. Okay, so we have some kind of disaster here, and black is the situation. Okay, that's fine. Hints in particular are always accessible, but also appear when it's relevant in the agenda, helping players connect cause and effect as they go. And for those who prefer a more structured approach, everything is also gathered in central learning hubs such as the Europedia and the hints panel, accessible at any time. And here we have some tips. Okay. Starting advice for Holland. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's very nice. Very low stability, unhappy state. Cool. Yeah, that looks decent actually. Except those 3D models again. What do we have here? The result is an onboarding experience that feels like following instructions and more like that feels less like following instructions and more like discovering how to play. One decision, one insight, one tooltip at a time. Okay, maybe I will actually prefer that way of a tutorial. instead of following direct instructions. Who knows? Pace. Okay, that's how much is left? Oh, a little bit. Okay, let's go through it. Pace. Here's another truth about grand strategy games. They can be overwhelming. Absolutely, they are. Absolutely. At the start of a typical campaign, you are greeted by a wall of spreadsheets, buttons, tabs, and flashing alerts. Correct. All demanding attention at once. For new players, that's not death. It's a fast track to panic mode. Yeah, actually, I would say both. You are just terrified by the death of the game. To tackle this, we looked toward the timeless principle of good design, the inverted pyramid of decision making, which in a complex game such as this resonates well. A game should begin with just a few meaningful choices and gradually expand as the player's understanding grows. By the time you are managing multiple systems, you already know what each of them means and why it matters. That principle works naturally in turn-based games. Yeah, okay, where time conveniently stops while you think. Yes, that's correct as well. But grand strategy titles live and breathe in real time and not just as a turn-based, which makes pacing far trickier. So we asked ourselves, how do we recreate the gentle learning curve? Yeah, that's it might be surprising, but that's totally different if you compare it with, let's say, Total War series, which is, I know, much less complex, but the pacing, because of the turns you have, it is turn-based strategy game, that gives you a more stable feeling regarding your choices. It's easier to pace yourself. It's easier to make certain decisions in relation to time. It's because you know how much and how long certain turns take and what you can do actually in a single turn, which in case of real-time systems, it's more like, is that the right time to do it? I don't know actually, because what if certain event happens in the meantime? And you will just wait to take action because you don't know what will happen next, and you are just you are slowed down, and basically you do not make any progress. Plus, you are overwhelmed by the amount of information. Okay, our answer is adaptive automation. In Europa Universalis 5, most major systems can be automated. That shouldn't be a part of tutorial. I don't like it. It's optional. Yeah, I know it's optional. Flexible and entirely under the player's control. Early on, you might automate several of these systems to focus on the fundamentals or simply the playstyle tied to the recommended country of your choice, learning what matters without juggling everything at once. As your mastery grows, you can start switching off automation feature by feature, taking full control at your own pace. Now I'm thinking whether that's good or not. To some degree, I would say yes, because as that says, you can focus on one thing at a time. That's fine. But now let's think differently. Let's take some sport, and let's say that's gonna be powerlifting. Why not? So you have basically squat, deadlift, and bench press. Three fundamental exercises, three moves. Plus, if you add OHP or something like that, is additional one. And now imagine that you just do only one. You start only with one. So with the bench press, let's say, and you do it for half a year, and then you say, okay, now it's about time to add squat to the program, and for another half a year you do bench press plus squat, and then after 6 months you add deadlift to the protocol. Does it make sense? Well, probably 99% of trainees trainers will say, no, it doesn't make any sense. You have to start with everything at once. Of course, you don't do them in a single day. You put one on Monday, the other one on Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. But in general, you start with all of them at once. So maybe this is the best. Maybe not the best example because that works something somewhat different, right? These things happen at the same time. That's why there is that automation. And I believe that, for example, regarding trade, many of us will use automation for the trade, which is fine. But adding automation to governing your country or managing war, um, I don't know. I'm skeptical, uh, but I've heard that. I mean, a few people said that. Well, this is actually a cool feature. So okay, it shouldn't be mentioned though in tutorial. I think like tutorial should actually tell you everything on a very basic level, move you through all the parts of the game on a very basic level and basic understanding, and then gradually build up on that. And that's my perspective. Might be wrong completely. Okay, so this not only creates a smoother onboarding for newcomers, but also gives veterans powerful tools to shape their experience. A long campaign naturally goes through phases. Perhaps during wartime, you let your economy run itself. And in peacetime, you turn your attention inward, managing estates and diplomacy in detail. Adaptive automation isn't just for beginners, it's a quality of life system for everyone. Okay, potentially, why not? We have automation here. Yeah, you can just turn on everything. Okay. Each playstyle walkthrough gently guides players toward which system they might want to automate first, depending on their chosen playstyle and recommended country. You can toggle automation on or off at any time, using it to pace your learning, or simply to take a breather from managing every moving part of an empire. Well, okay. In the end, pace in Europa Universalis 5 means freedom. The freedom to decide how much you want to handle, when you want to handle it, and how you want to grow into the full complexity of the game. It's learning through empowerment, not restriction. Hmm. Highly debatable. I've said in the previous episode that I'm not a huge fan of automation, and I think I will stick to that. Maybe I will change my mind when I try Europa Universalis 5. But I like to have control over absolutely everything. The least interesting part for me is managing your family and people, like specific people. I don't give a shit about them. I'm more about country. Of course, I want to have a great ruler. I want to have great generals, but I don't care what's their family, how they are connected with each other, who doesn't like whom, and so on. I really don't care about that. So that's something, yeah, I would probably like to automate, but I don't know how you're supposed to automate that part. I mean, actually in Europa Universalis series, I believe that's not gonna matter a lot. That's the case for Crusader Kings, of course, which is built around dynasties and families. Okay, let's continue. Reward. Finally, let's address the elephant in the room. Tutorials are rarely fun. Yeah, I have to disagree with that. They are fun. They are specific. They are fun in some way. Of course, it depends what kind of game you play. Already provided that example, but now I can recall that when I play shooter games, in which I have quite a bit of experience, I don't like tutorials. That's true. Because again, I feel too good to spend time on tutorial. I know how to shoot, I know how to aim, I know how to throw grenades and so on. So I don't give a shit about tutorial. They are boring. That's a waste of time for me. Let's put me into the real game. But in case of strategies, I love tutorials. They are like that small introduction to the series, to what am I supposed to do. It's like starting reading a book and you have that how is it called, preface, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't remember now. I don't even know how it's called in Polish, so whatever. uh, I like those introductions. Like they say what the book is going to be about, who wrote it, what's the background behind that book, and so on. And it's like a smooth entry into that book. Uh, and that's same for the tutorials in strategy games. For example, I have a game called Gary Grigsby's War in the East, something like that. Highly complex game, and I miss there's no tutorial. The only tutorial is the PDF file, which requests you to start a certain scenario and explains the steps. But geez, it's like reading massive PDF to make a single move on the map. It's quite overwhelming. Of course, this is a different type of game, right? I mean, this is for, I wouldn't even say professionals to some degree. So yeah, maybe that's why there is no specific tutorial. But in such a game like Europa Universalis 5, I mean, come on. The tutorials are great. I mean, they are for sure useful for many of us. Okay, so again, they say that they are often skipped or rushed through just to get to the real game. That's not me. That's definitely not me. But I understand that. I completely understand that. A lot of people do that. So it's, oh, yeah, well, another example. So you buy something from IKEA. I mean, some furniture piece. What you do? You don't give a shit about the instruction, right? You just go straight into assembling the piece. And usually you make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, that's about you. I'm joking. But a lot of people do that. They skip instruction. They are like, I'm better than that. And they just go into assembling. And believe me, with instruction, it's much easier. So that's this similar story here. But in a grand strategy game like Europa Universalis 5, the process of figuring things out can be half the fun if players have the right tools and structure around them. Beyond the integration and pacing system we've already discussed, we want to add another layer that taps directly into the player's sense of motivation and accomplishment. Research into learning and cognition consistently shows that deep understanding happens when one actively performs the task. Yes, 100%. Not when they just follow instructions. That's also correct. That's very true. But that's following instructions at the very beginning is just useful to some degree because you just get familiar with the game, with basic clicking here and there. That's why it's useful. But then, yeah, that's okay. I can agree. Following instructions is less effective than understanding what happens. I mean, than actively performs a specific task. That's true. Yeah, I can agree with that. But again, it's slightly different case, so I wouldn't say it's just black and white. Players learn best when they take meaningful actions, see the results, and connect cause and effect on their own. Yep, that's correct. But you have to have some fundamentals before you can actually grasp it. That's where learning mission trees come in. Each mission tree offers a series of short-term, focused objectives, not abstract lessons, but real gameplay challenges that matter to your nation. Okay, that sounds very promising. You might be asked to establish a trade route, integrate your territory, balance your estates, or wage a limited war under specific conditions. Well, that sounds decent. Yeah, that sounds much better now. Completing these tasks feels satisfying because they represent genuine progress inside the campaign. Okay, fair enough. What do we have here? Oh, we have those missions. Okay. Uh, isn't that something similar to like Stellaris mission set, which I barely use because I forget about it every time? I mean, that's interesting. I'm curious how much I'm gonna actually use it. Huh. Okay, but it exists, so that's cool. Missions in Europa Universalis 5 act as a bridge between theory and experience. They encourage players to make decisions that are both educational and impactful. Every completed goal reinforces a mechanic in context, so players aren't simply memorizing features, they are mastering them through meaningful play. That means a lot. That's if that's how it works, if that's what the goal was designing these missions, okay, hopes are very high. That's very promising. Develop a capital economy mission tree. Okay, and they are very generic as far as I know. For each country, basically. Okay. I'm wondering how boring it becomes um, when you play more and more. Are you going to actually finish them as well when you play, like, I don't know, after 200 hours? Are you going really to complete them again? That's something curious. And as you complete missions of a specific playstyle, the game can gradually reduce automation on relevant systems, letting you take control naturally and allowing you to unlock the rest of the walkthroughs. You are not being lectured or led by the hand. Instead, the game gives you the chance to earn your understanding step by step. So that you're supposed to use automation. So you do the mission and the game assumes, okay, you are knowledgeable enough. Now we can turn off automation and focus on something new. Interesting approach. Um, Definitely innovative, I would say. So here we have that mission panel. Okay, on completion, Layden gains great roller center. Okay, doesn't matter. That's game specific. Here we have politics, missions, trees. Blah blah blah. Replay politics walkthroughs. Okay. Missions in the outliner. Here you can unlock and replay specific walkthroughs. Okay. To wrap up, designing an onboarding system for a grand strategy game as deep as Europa Universalis 5 has been one of our toughest and most rewarding challenges we've tackled at Tinto. Our goal wasn't just to make the game easier to learn, but to make learning it part of the experience itself. From recommended countries and adaptive walkthroughs to hints, automation, and learning mission trees, everything is designed to guide without restricting. You can skip steps, turn off missions, or jump straight into free play whenever you like. Okay? So probably, yeah, those missions will be turned off after some time for many experienced players. You are the ruler. We just hand you the tools. We'll continue refining the systems as we gather feedback from internal testing and eventually from you. That's all for today, Tinto Talk. Next week, our CM Ryan will dive into the modding systems of the game. I'm not interested, but I believe that great modes will happen. I mean, people do spectacular things. It's really impressive. So huge kudos for all of them. And also remember, you can pre-purchase. Yeah, I know. I will soon. So yeah, that's it. That wraps up the Tinto Talks 84 about onboarding systems. I really enjoyed that. That was a great reading. Now I'm thinking, what's next? Probably would select some older Dev Diary or older Tinto Talks, and I will make video on that. And how many days we have? It's 17th of October today, so it's about I don't know, 14 plus 4, which is 18 days till Europa Universalis 5 release. That's awesome. That's super exciting. So I hope you like it, and hopefully see you in the next one. We will see in which one. I haven't planned anything in advance. So once again, thank you very much, and goodbye.